Legendary Passages, Episode 90, 16th Argonauts. The Nurse, Part 1 of Euripides Medea. Unlike previous episodes, the next 7 are actually a play, performed by myself and by my sister Allie playing as Medea. In this passage, Jason has decided to leave her and wed the daughter of Creon, and worse, Medea's family is to be driven from the city. 2 servants, an attendant watching the children, and an old nurse discuss the recent marital woes, while off stage Medea cries in lamentation. After the attendant leaves, both the nurse and the chorus worry what sort of revenge awaits Jason and his bride. The Nurse, Part 1, a legendary passage from Euripides Medea, translated by E.P. Coleridge. Before Medea's house in Corinth, near the palace of Creon, the nurse enters from the house.
Ah! Would to heaven the good ship Argo ne'er had spied its course to the Colchian land through the misty blue Stypulgides, nor ever in the glens of Pelion the pine been felled to furnish with oars the chieftain's hands, who went to fetch the golden fleece for Peleus. For then would my own mistress Medea never have sailed to the turrets of Iolcus, her soul with love for Jason smitten, nor would she have beguiled the daughters of Peleus to slay their father and come live here in the land of Corinth with their husband and children, where her exile found favor with the citizens to whose land she had come, and in all things of her own accord was she at one with Jason. The greatest safeguard this, when wife and husband do agree. But now their love is all turned to hate, and tenderest ties are weak. For Jason hath betrayed his own children and my mistress dear, for the love of a royal bride. For he hath wedded the daughter of Creon, lord of this land. While Medea, his hapless wife, thus scorned, appeals to the oaths he swore, recalls the strong pledge his right hand gave, and bids heaven be witness what requital she is finding from Jason. And here she lies fasting, yielding her body to her grief, wasting away in tears ever since she learned that she was wronged by her husband, never lifting her eye nor raising her face from far-off ground. And she lends as deaf an ear to her friend's warning as if she were a rock or an ocean billow, save when she turns her snow-white neck aside and softly to herself bemoans her father dear, her country and her home, which she gave up to come hither with the man who now holds her in dishonor. She, poor lady, hath by sad experience learned how good a thing it is never to quit one's own native land. And she hates her children now, and feels no joy at seeing them. I fear she may contrive some untoward scheme, for her mood is dangerous, nor will she brook her cruel treatment. Full well I know her, and I much do dread that she will plunge the keen sword through their hearts, stealing without a word into the chamber where their marriage couch is spread, or else that she will slay the prince and the bridegroom too, and so find some calamity still more grievous than the present. For dreadful is her wrath. Verily the man that doth incur her hate will have no easy task to raise o'er her a song of triumph. Lo, where her sons come hither from their childish sports, little they reck of their mother's woes, for the soul of the young is no friend to sorrow. The attendant leads in Medea's children. Why dost thou, so my lady's own handmaid, stand here at the gate alone, loudly lamenting to thyself the piteous tale? How comes it that Medea will have thee leave her to herself? Old man, attendant on the sons of Jason, our master's fortunes, when they go awry, make good slaves grieve and touch their hearts. Oh, have come to such a pitch of grief that there stole a yearning wish upon me to come forth hither and proclaim to heaven and earth my mistress's hard fate. What? Has not the poor lady ceased from her lamentation? Would I were as thou art. The mischief is but now beginning. It has not reached its climax yet. O foolish one, if I may call my mistress such a name, how little she recks of evils yet more recent. What mean'st, old man? Grudge not to tell me. 'Tis not. I do repent me even of the words I have spoken. Nay, by thy beard, I conjure thee, hide it not from thy fellow slave. We'll be silent, if need be, on that text. I have heard one say, pretending not to listen, as I approached the palace where our greybeards sit playing draughts near Perine's sacred spring, that Creon, ruler of this land, is bent on driving these children and their mother from the boundaries of Corinth. But I know not whether the news is to be relied upon, and would fain it were not. What? Will Jason brook such treatment of his sons, even though he be at variance with their mother? Old ties give way to new. He bears no longer any love to this family. Undone, it seems, are we, if to old woes fresh ones we add, ere we have drained the former to the dregs. Hold thou thy peace, say not a word of this. 'Tis no time for our mistress to learn hereof. O children, do ye hear how your father feels towards you? Perdition catch him, but know he is my master still, yet he proved a very traitor to his nearest and dearest. And who amongst men is not? Art learning only now that every single man cares for himself more than for his neighbor? Some from honest motives, others for mere gain's sake, seeing that to indulge his passion their father has ceased to love these children. Go, children, within the house. All will be well. Do thou keep them as far away as may be, and bring them not near their mother in her evil hour. For ere this I have seen her eyeing them savagely, as though she were minded to do them some hurt. And well I know she will not cease from her fury till she has pounced on some victim. At least may she turn her hand against her foes, and not against her friends.
Ah, me, a wretched, suffering woman I. Oh, what that I could die!
'Tis as I said, my dear children. Wild fancies stir your mother's heart. Wild fury goads her on. Into the house without delay. Come not near her eye. Reproach her not. Beware her savage mood, the fell tempest of her reckless heart. In with what speed ye may. 'Tis plain she will soon redouble her fury. That cry is but the herald of the gathering storm cloud, whose lightning will flash. What will her proud and restless soul, in the anguish of despair, be guilty of? The attendant takes the children into the house.
Ah, me, the agony I have suffered, deep enough to call for these laments. Curse you, and your father too, ye children damned, sons of a doomed mother. Ruin seize the whole family.
Ah me, the pity of it. Why, pray, do thy children share their father's crime? Why hatest thou them? Woe is you, poor children. How do I grieve for you, lest ye suffer some outrage? Strange are the tempers of princes, and maybe because they seldom have to obey, and mostly lord it over others, change their moods with difficulty. 'Tis better then to have been trained to live on equal terms. Be it mine to reach old age, not in proud pomp, but in security. Moderation wins the day first, as a better word for men to use, and likewise it is far the best course for them to pursue. But greatness that doth overreach itself brings no blessing to mortal men, but pays a penalty of greater ruin whenever fortune is wroth with the family.
The chorus enters. The following lines between the nurse, chorus, and Medea are sung. I heard the voice, uplifted loud, of our poor Colchian lady, nor yet is she quiet. Speak, aged dame, for as I stood by the house with double gates, I heard a voice of weeping from within. And I do grieve, lady, for the sorrows of this house, for it hath won my love.
'Tis a house no more. All that is passed away long since. A royal bride keeps Jason at her side, while our mistress pines away in her bower, finding no comfort for her soul in aught her friends can say.
Oh, oh! Would that heaven's levin bolt would cleave his head in twine! What gain is life to me? Woe, woe is me! Oh, to die and win release, quitting this loath existence.
Didst hear, O Zeus, thou earth, and thou, O light, the piteous note of woe the hapless wife is uttering? How shall a yearning for that insatiate resting place ever hasten for thee, poor reckless one, the end that death alone can bring? Never pray for that. And if thy Lord prefers a fresh love, be not angered with him for that. Zeus will judge twixt thee and him herein. They mourn not for thy husband's loss too much, nor waste thyself away.
Great Themis, and husband of Themis, behold what I am suffering now, though I did bind that accursed one, my husband, by strong oaths to me. Oh, to see him and his bride some day brought to utter destruction, they and their house with them, for that they presume to wrong me thus unprovoked. O my father, my country, that I have left to my shame, after slaying my own brother.
Do ye hear her words, how loudly she adjures Themis, oft invoked, and Zeus, whom men regard as keeper of their oaths? On no mere trifle will surely our mistress spend her rage.
Would that she would come forth for us to see, and listen to the words of counsel we might give, if haply she might lay aside the fierce fury of her wrath, and her temper stern. Never be my zeal at any rate denied, my friends, but go thou and bring her hither outside the house, and tell her this our friendly thought. Haste thee ere she do some mischief to those inside the house, for this sorrow of hers is mounting high.
This I will do, but I doubt whether I shall persuade my mistress. Still willingly will I undertake this trouble for you, albeit she glares upon her servants with the look of a lioness with cubs, whenso anyone draws nigh to speak to her. Wert thou to call the men of old time rude, uncultured boors, thou wouldst not err, seeing that they devise their hymns for festive occasions, for banquets, and to grace the board, a pleasure to catch the ear, shed over our life. But no man hath found a way to allay hated grief by music and the minstrel's varied strain, whence arise slaughters and fell strokes of fate to overthrow the homes of men. And yet this were surely a gain, to heal men's wounds by music's spell. But why tune their idle song where rich banquets are spread? For of itself doth the rich banquet set before them afford to men delight.
I heard a bitter cry of lamentation. Loudly, bitterly, she calls on the traitor of her marriage bed, her perfidious spouse. By grievous wrongs oppressed, she invokes Themis, bride of Zeus, witness of oaths, who brought her unto Hellas, the land that fronts the strand of Asia, o'er the sea by night, through ocean's boundless gate. This passage continues as Medea is confronted by Creon in Part 2.